What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Blvd of Champions Podcast, hosted by yours truly, David Torrance. I'm an author, strength coach, and entrepreneur, just trying to build my legacy. Let's get into it.
Hey, look, used to believe in none, now I believe in some. I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Our quote of the day comes from Earl Graves Sr. For those who do not know who that is, he's a Black businessman and philanthropist who is the founder of the Black Enterprise magazine. The quote says, "Hold on to your dreams of a better life and stay committed to striving to realize it." So that quote is going to bring us into our episode for today, which is about where to start your business and how to lay the foundation. I talk to a lot of people, and especially right now during the quarantine, right? Starting your own business is a really big topic of conversation. And I myself have been running my own businesses for a while now. And I have a lot of people who inquire to me and ask me questions about, hey, where do I start? How do I do that and the third? So today I kind of want to tackle that, right? I want to take an opportunity to kind of go over the things that I know work and some of the things that people may not be aware of when it comes to starting your business idea. Because I think all of us should be involved in business. I have this weird thing where I don't think everybody needs to run their own business or have their own business. But if we do a little bit of searching, we'll find that there are a lot of ways to be involved with business without having to actually own one. And those are great alternatives for many of us, to be honest with you. Even I myself dabble in that. Outside of owning businesses, I'm involved with a lot of business that are not of my own. So I would challenge you and encourage you to try it out. Find a business that you can start. And if not, you know what? Find businesses that you can be involved with and play a huge part in, not as an employee, but as a contributor. So there's a little fun gem for you. So today, when it comes to starting a business, the first thing that you want to do to lay the foundation is to come up with a name. And this is the funnest part. This is very fun, and it could be the hardest strategic aspect of starting a business. I only say that because a lot of business names are already taken that we like, or the Instagram name for is already taken, and we got to put a dash or a period or two dashes, right, just to get that name. But you want to start with a business name. So when it comes to business names, there's usually two ways you can go about tackling it. Typically, you want to start with either having a business name with a catchy marketing ploy, or that has an emotional tie to it. So I'm going to use Prince Darnell as an example. A lot of people know who that is on Instagram. So he has his jumping jack tax business. All right. So that's a very catchy marketing ploy name, right? Jumping jack tax. It sticks out, right? It rolls off the tongue very good. It's a good marketing ploy visually, right? When you see it, it's different and it may attract your eyes. Another example is my line brother, for example, Kevin Luador. He has a thing he does called the Money Heist, right? So that's a super catchy marketing ploy. Why? We know during quarantine, there was a popular show on Netflix called The Money Heist that came out. So that's one way you can go about coming up with the name. Another name is having an emotional tie connected to it. So with businesses or company names that have an emotional tie, we see a lot of nonprofit organizations and institutions with names similar to that. For example, like Black Lives Matter. If not Black Lives Matter, then Salvation Army or Red Cross. Those are companies with names that have an emotional tie connected to it. So when we think of a business name, right, we want to have one with a catchy marketing ploy or that has emotional tie connected to it. And the funny thing is, the one with the emotional tie to it can be used as marketing too, right? Because if I walk down the street and I meet you and you tell me you have a business and I ask what the name is, right, that's a talking point. That's a marketing tool that you can use, right? The origins of that name, where it's significant to your family or significant to a thing that happened in your life or a person who impacted your life. So those are very strategic yet effective ways to come up with business names. So marketing ploy, right? Or a catchy or emotional tie. All right. next after that is let's get into a case study. So, for example, I have a business called KP System, or KP for short. Now, when I came up with this business name, how I came up with it was I looked at the market that I'm in, right, which is pretty much sports, athletics, fitness, and I looked at the big boys in my field. So, for example, here in Miami, there's a big popular athletic development sports performance program called DBC. There's you have Nike, right? You have Jordan, you have Adidas. These are big names that we think of when we think of a sports or a fitness related company. All right. So when coming up with my business name, I thought to myself, all right, I need something that has a simple name and a symbol attached to it, right? Because when I say Nike, you don't see Nike, you see the check, right? If I say Jordan, you don't see the letters of Jordan, right? You see the Jordan logo. For a lot of people, when they hear DBC Fit, they think of the owner, David Alexander. So those are companies with very simple names, right? Nike's 2 syllables, Jordan 2 syllables, right? Simple names, but there's a strong quality image attached to it. And if not that, there's a strong quality service or brand or product attached to those names, right? So when I thought of what I wanted, right, I wanted to have a company that specialized in athletic development, catering to high school and middle school athletes, right? And now for that business, right, I want to lay the foundation for athletes to build upon in their professional careers. And my thought process behind that was, all right, well, there are a lot of people who want to work with professional athletes, right? And that's their goal. I want to work with the professional athletes, so forth and so on. But there are a lot of kids who may not be professionals that want to live an active lifestyle, or there may be kids with a tremendous amount of potential that aren't being catered to, right? So a business like mine, right, found a niche in a sense. So when it comes to the business name KP, right? So I wanted a simple name, right? Nike, Jordan, so something 2 syllables. So KP, right? Very simple. I have a strong logo attached to it, right? That kind of sticks out in your mind if you see it. All right. And then on top of that, everything that I did outside of that business name, I wanted to work to make sure that there was a strong service and product attached to it. That's more of the end result. But when we come up with the business name and an idea, we want to make sure that the end result is always that there's a high quality service, right, or product attached to it. I go back to some of the examples we did, right? Salvation Army, Red Cross, right? These are very strong organizations with a good quality attached to it. Jumping Jack Tax, right? There's a high quality service and person attached to it, because we all know who Prince Darnell is if you're on Instagram a lot and we're scrolling through, all right? So that's how we can come up with business names in a very simple, strategic way. So KP, like I said, for example, stands for capable performance, right? But I don't want to name the business that, hey, what's the name of your business? Capable performance, right? I wanted something quick that I can say that I felt like had a very strong quality service, right, or product attached to it. So KP was a very easy way to go about that. So now we're going to get into the 4 things that you need to really organically test run your business idea. And this week I was helping out my little sister. She is starting her own business, right? Which is really cool, because at the age of 16, the only thing I was thinking about was basketball and nothing related to business or entrepreneurship. But like I said, if we all don't want to have a business, there's ways to be involved with business. And I think starting off at a young age is a very cool way to introduce yourself to the concepts of business, so that if we don't own one, we can still be a part of business and add value to that company, service, products. Therefore, so 4 things that we need to test from the business. This is where I want you to take out a piece of paper or a pen, write this down. So the first thing is we want to have a primary presence outside of social media online. All right. So what does that mean? We got to have a website. So if you're going to have a business, you want to have something. You don't want Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You don't want those to be your primary platforms for your business to run through. Why? Because you don't really control them, right? We know from the Instagram algorithm that everyone won't see the post that you put up, right? So we want to find a better primary source that people can go to find out who the heck you are, all right? And what do you do? What services do you provide? Or what product do you have that I may be interested in buying? So with that being said, we had to have a website and a strong logo. So for those who do not know, there are either website places you can go online to buy a website, and you pay for it monthly, right? Wix. There are other companies such as, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. We have Wix. We have, I can't think of another name of them. I'm having a brain fart. But there is a free website that you can use called Ucraft. Ucraft, you can go on GoDaddy.com, purchase you a domain name. So whatever your business is.com, right? However price that comes up to, right? It's probably gonna be under $20 by the time we add all these 4 things together. But you can go on GoDaddy, get your website name. From there, go to a website like Ucraft, right? And you can get started with the free website at a very low cost. Free. Doesn't get any better than that. And then from there, we can use companies like Fiverr, right? Fiverr, you pay a minimum $5 to get a logo made. All right, so from there, the second thing we want to do is we want a way to collect data and distribute information. And like I said, we don't want social media to be our primary way of getting information out or receiving data. What I mean by that is we don't want Instagram to be our only way to get a follow or the people to see what we do, right? Because like I said, the algorithm on all these platforms is going to create a ceiling to only how far we can go in terms of getting our business out there. So it won't really be a benefit to you long term for social media to be your initial and primary source of getting your information out and getting yourself out there for people to see. What you want to do is you want to test run your business organically so you have a better idea of how it could run, right, if social media didn't exist, right? Because that's going to be the key. Not because if you can't grow your business organically, social media will never be able to enhance anything, right? Because if I can grow my business organically and have 100 customers, now that I have a base of 100 customers, I now have a following, right, that I can use as a reference or as marketing agents to push whatever product or service that I have. All right, so that's kind of how we want to think about it. So we want to have a way to collect data and distribute it. One easy way to do that is MailChimp. MailChimp is a service that you can purchase for free to create a landing page to collect people's emails, phone numbers, anything else that you want, addresses, whatever. Basically, you're creating a database so that if you have a launch of a new product, you don't have to hope that the 100 people that follow you, right, see that post. But instead, you have the contact information for those 100 people so you can get it to them right there, right, through a text message, through email, so forth and so on. We hear these things called email marketing, text message marketing, right? All you did was create a platform or create a space for you to collect data. Once that data is collected, now you have the means to get that information out at your convenience, and you know that there's a better likelihood of this person checking their text message or checking their email to seeing what you send out, as opposed to hoping that the algorithm of Instagram and Facebook work in your favor to get that out. So that's where a platform such as MailChimp that is free, right? So we're still under that $20 mark that I talked about. That comes in hand. Now, the second thing that we want to do is we want to have a very small sample size of the product or service that we're giving. So through my business KP system, I have a thing that I started where I started making, I started an online service of teaching high school athletes how to break down film study, right? So I found a platform. The name of the platform is Thinkific. Thinkific is a platform where you can go and pay to create online programs. So if I had a course where I wanted to teach people how to buy stocks, right, I could create a whole program and curriculum on here for people to do it online. I will pre-record videos, have worksheets, things like that attached to it, have it organized in a way to where you segment it through it, right? You go through chapter 1, you work your way to chapter 2, so forth and so on. But Thinkific has a free option, right? So we're still under that $20 mark, a free option where you could literally start a beta version of whatever the services you want to provide. So let's say, like I said, I want to do stocks, right? I could create a 3-chapter for free, 3-chapter online program to where someone can go and learn about stocks, and I can charge a fee, right? And boom. So if, let's say it's not a service, let's say it's a product, right? Let's say you go to Alibaba and you find a way to get shirts or a foam roller made at a cheap value, what I would do is I would get a small sample size, okay, of product or merchandise. So let's say 10. Let's say 10. All right, that's very simple, because usually what I like to tell people is look at how many followers you have on Instagram, or think of how many people you know are at the top of your head, make a list and try to capture 10% of that audience, right? So if I have 100 people, 10% of that audience would be 10 people. So I will buy 10 products, right? 10 foam rollers that I want to try to sell. All right. Your goal should be to flip those 10 products through your primary, right, outlet or your resource, which would be your website. Try to let your email marketing, your text message marketing, and your website be the ways to flip those 10 products, right? If you're able to flip those 10 products over a short amount of time, you now have tested out your business idea and you have tangible resources or outcomes that show you, all right, this can be done maybe on a slightly bigger scale, right? So let's say you got those 100 products and you flip them in a week. Boom. What I would do is I would try to do that same thing and flip that in 6 days, right? Shorten the time frame for the same amount of products and see how well your system rolls, right? Whether that's your email marketing, your text messaging, or the quality of people you're attracting to your website. Maybe you're attracting 20 people, right? But out of those 20 people, you only see that 10% is opening up your email, right? So that may mean that the people you're reaching out to or the people that are seeing your website may not be your target audience, right? So that's a whole nother episode about getting into what your target audience should be and how you want to attract them. But let's just say it's friends and family, all right? You want to be able to capture 10% of the people you know. I use 10 products for 100 people that we know as an example. So once you're able to do that in terms of having your system of a website that people can go to see what you actually service, all right, having a platform to collect data, emails, text messages, phone numbers, names, so forth and so on, right? And then after that, having a sample size of the products and see if you can flip those products in a certain amount of time. Now, this next thing, the fourth thing, right, that we're going to get into is something that I see a lot of people make mistakes on. And this fourth thing is a big precursor to your business mindset. And if you want to create a business or have a hustle, there's a huge difference. So this is what I see a lot of people do. Hey, David, I have this great idea. I want to sell shirts with this on it. All right. Or I want to sell socks with this on it. Or I want to sell iPhone cases with this on it. All right. So let's say you have this great idea. All right, cool. You have the website that you're going to use to collect the data. You have a cool name with an emotional tie or a strong marketing ploy. All right. And then from there, you have MailChimp set up for a landing page to collect people's names, emails, and phone numbers. Therefore, you can do email marketing, right? Or you can do text message marketing. Cool. Outside of that, you got a small sample size of products that you paid a low price for that you're going to obviously sell at a higher price so that you can make a profit. Very simple business one-on-one. All right. Now, this is where your what's the word I want to use? Your ethics of the business come into play. So after all that, I want to buy your product. Okay, cool. Hey, here's my Cash App. That's what I see a lot of people do. We use Cash App as our way to collect money, or we want to collect it all cash, right? We want it tax-free, right? We don't want any taxes on that money. I get it. But the goal is to test run and set the foundation for a business. That doesn't really work if you don't have a system set up to sell products that are taxed, right? Because when it's all said and done, you have to file taxes. And if you have an LLC and this is something you're trying to get started as a real business, you have to say where you got that money for. And more importantly, the government is going to want their money from the thing that you sold, which is taxes. So if you are only accepting your money through Cash App, you're setting yourself up to have a hustle more than you're setting yourself up to have a business. And I made the mistake of doing that. And I find it that's a lot better if you can test run your business by having ways to collect money that is taxed, so that when it comes to having a true business, having your income statements, your balance sheets, and cash flow, if you ever get your way to that point, set up in a way that is business-like. So one thing that we can do all right, is PayPal. If you use PayPal, PayPal taxes the money that you receive, all right? And if you have that, if you go to Ucraft, right, and set up that free website, a lot of things people don't know is you don't have to pay for e-commerce on your website. Like Wix, I think charge you maybe $20, right? If you have a website and you want to sell merchandise, they would charge you $20 to set up the tools to collect that money and collect the data on it, right? But to collecting the data, we already got away from that. We are collecting it with MailChimp, which is a free thing that we can use to test run our website. So in terms of the money aspect, PayPal can actually create links that you can set up on your website so that when someone clicks a product, it would take them directly to PayPal for them to input the amount of money that it costs for the shirt or the service, right? Once they put that amount in, and you can actually collect data again, right? If you just want to make sure people are giving you the right phone number, email, so forth and so on, you there input their information and they can collect the payments that way. So what did we just do? We just created for under $20 a website, a logo, a database to collect system, whatever product it is that we're selling, 10 for example, and we set up the link through PayPal on our free website, right? So that we can collect payments that is taxed, so that we're seeing how much money we are making, right? On a business level mindset, not on the hustling mindset. Because what's going to happen is, let's say you do have a successful business and you collect all money through Cash App. And I hope if you're doing that, you're not putting the money from your Cash App and transferring to your business, because when you do your taxes, the government's going to want to know where that chunk of money came from. All right. So keep that in mind. If you are going to do the hustling way and take money through Cash App, do not deposit the funds into your bank account, because that money is untaxed. That's going to come back and bite you in the butt. But as I was saying, let's say this is a successful business. Or for example, I use my dad's example. My dad cut hair for many years, right? If you're a barber, you know, similar to drug dealers, I'm just going to use that as an example. You carry a lot of cash on you, right? And that cash is typically untaxed. So what happens is, if you collect all this money, you have a great business, but that money's not taxed. If you ever wanted a house or anything like that, you don't have anything to develop credit with, right? And nowadays, credit is worth more than money, right? So sometimes, depending on how much money you have, you can't even use it because you don't have credit that can be used to leverage that money. All right. So that's a long term. It's very important that you set up your business in a way that you can collect money that's taxed. All right. I know that sounds contrary. A lot of people may tell you, hey, start hustling, make this money and collect profits. But what I'm telling you here is finding a way to streamline your business and test it out in a way that will mimic how your business truly wants to work long term, so that you can make the mistakes and you can find the platforms to do all this on a low cost, right? We're already saving money I just shouted out a website where you can make a free website, right? So let's think about this. The only thing you're essentially paying for is your logo through Fiverr, or if you have a buddy who makes it, that's free. But Fiverr, let's say it's $5 right there you use to create your logo. The website is free. You don't have to worry about that. MailChimp is free. You don't have to worry about that, right? The next big purchase you have to make will be the product, all right? So outside the product, this is where maybe you go over $20. Let's say it's that foam roller that I use, for example. Let's say we're able to get it made on Alibaba for $2, right? You get 10 foam rollers, that's $20. All right, so $20 plus $5 for the logo. We're only at $25 that you're in the negative. That's not bad, right? Because let's say we got all those made for $2, but we flip them for $10. That's $100 we made minus the $25, a $75 profit, right? If you're able to do that and double it, right, that's $150, right? If you're able to do that same model and flip it again, but double the price, right? So what you want to do is, when you have your business idea, start small and streamline all your things on a very small level, so that it's super doable. Trying to capture 10% of 100 people, which is only 10 people, is not a crazy thing to do. And if it's hard to do that, these are the mistakes and L's in terms of lessons, not losses, that we're going through to find out how we can create a successful business. Because that's where it all starts, doing things on a small scale. And once it's done successfully in a small scale, scaling. That's all I'm doing. But within that, I'm trying to shout out a couple. If you guys been writing this down, I've been trying to shout out a couple places, companies, and entities you can do all this for a free price, right? I just shout out MailChimp, Ucraft, PayPal. All these are probably services or companies that you heard of online that you never taken the time out to actually use and do. All right. So with that being said, let's go through this one more time. The 4 things you need to organically test run your business idea, right? First thing is to have a primary online presence outside of social media, a website, right? On that website, we need to have a strong business name and logo. We went over business names already. Second thing you need is a way to collect and distribute data, right? On MailChimp, you can create landing pages to collect data. You can also send out emails to distribute information. Next, you need a small sample size of products, right? Or a platform for your service, such as Thinkific, where you create online courses for free. You can only do, I think, 3 chapters. So you have to condense it a lot. But finding a small sample size of products and service and making that available, and then having a way to collect taxable payments so that we are able to set ourselves up for learning how to run a business as opposed to keeping up a hustle. All right, so those are the 4 things that we need to create a business. So I think my time is up. I told you guys episodes are only going to be 15 to 20 minutes long, so I gave you a lot of gems. So to close out the show, I usually like to, play a song that you may or may not know. Today's song comes from an artist by the name of Ty Heater. The name of the song is Floyd. As the song is coming in, I ask you to subscribe, like, leave me a comment, anything you want on the Blvd of Champions Podcast, first episode. David checking out. Peace and love. See you guys.
Kill my people. Dear Mr. Officer, with your knee all on my neck. Can't you see that I can't breathe and that I'm dying of slow death? My family won't hear from me. Please don't let this be my last breath. As the tear under my cheek, these are the last words that I said. I'm not ready to die.